Welcome back once again to another holiday edition of Cape and Today. We are with Erika Brown, the publisher and editor of The Cricket. How are you, Erika?
Hey, Heather. Hey, Corey.
Hi, Erika.
Okay, holidays are in full swing. Do you want to touch quickly upon Christmas by the Sea?
Yes, we talked about that last time. It happened. It was fantastic, mostly because I don't know whether it was because it was a kind of a beautiful, sunny, temperate day and the whole weekend. Whatever it was, everyone went out. Also, it was a lot of outdoor activities, and I think that made people feel safe. And they came out in droves. So it kicked off with the holiday stroll, which is sort of the Friday night retailer kind of thing, where they have everyone puts out a little something, a little cheer for you to come by and visit. Everyone had a great time. The restaurants were packed. Everyone had a good time. And then on Saturday, Santa came by boat to Masconomo Park. And then he set up at the home plate of the baseball diamond with tinsel all behind him. And there was a line you wouldn't believe of little kids. And there was this one shot that was our cover shot, our page one shot of this little girl, Evelyn, who brought her little brother. And he was hilarious what he was looking for. It was so funny. So it was cute. They had a petting zoo. They had a craft table. I think there were probably about 400 people there. I mean, a lot of people. It was all outdoors. And by the way, do you remember I said that Santa was coming by fire truck and by boat the same day? I was wrong. I had it off by a week. I'm so sorry. So he's
naughty
coming.
List. That is the naughty list right there.
You just gotta check out the polar Google calendar.
Exactly. Well, listen, it's confusing because with sort of transition back from COVID type of thing, sometimes things get changed up. But anyway, it's this weekend on Sunday. Santa's coming by fire and he's going to be around. So there you go.
How's it all?
So that was that. And then, it went right through to the tree lighting at, Town Common with the cocoa and the three choruses from, we had a cappella, the chorus, and the school band. All of them were there and they were all doing it. It was just, and tons of people were there. We had a great time. So there you go. Enough said.
Very nice. Okay, Erika, let's talk about John Judge's new appointment.
Oh yeah, that came through this week. I hope a lot of people heard about it. It was kind of really exciting for Cape Ann. John Judge is a resident of Manchester. He's actually a relatively new resident in Manchester, and I'll tell you why, but he's made a big imprint already. He is the new president of the Trustees, formerly known as the Trustees of Reservation. And they own a lot of property in Manchester and Essex and all over the place. Ravenswood, Coolidge Point, Agassiz Rock, soon to be changed. They have,
Cranes
of course, Cranes Beach and and all that.
And Appleton. Did you say Appleton Farms?
Appleton, I did not say it, but of course, how could we not? So he's going to be the new president. He is president and CEO, effective on the new year. He is young, he's forward thinking, he's very, very interesting to talk to. I had a very good conversation with him. But he is currently, up until the end of the year, he's the president and CEO, same roles of the Appalachian Mountain Club. I don't know if you're familiar with the AMC.
Yes. Yeah. The little huts.
Yeah, he's original. Yeah, he's exactly the huts.
The keeper of the huts.
Yeah, the keeper of the huts. But it's funny. If I had a nickel for every friend of mine who had a transformative experience as a young person working for a summer, working with the Appalachian Mountain Clubs, trail grooming, and it's very hands-on and active. Well, he's going to be the new president. He's going to take it into a direction that is all about inclusivity, and his big passion is coastal resilience. So you think of those two things and you think of them perhaps in different parts of your brain, but the truth is he kind of fuses those concepts in an exciting way. He thinks that coastal resiliency, climate change, the time to act is now, he says, and coastal resiliency should be about Lynn, New Bedford, and all these places, and East Boston, not just Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard, where the Trustees also have a lot of property.
Right.
So he's really all about that. It's really very interesting. I'm going to watch him. But here's the colorful part, which I love. John Judge here's a little trivia. In 2019, he moved to town with his family from Boston into a house. And why would that be interesting?
The house itself is really interesting, maybe? Something happened to that house? Tell us, Erica.
His house in Manchester, their house, he and his wife Molly and their then 3-year-old daughter were the featured house for last season's This Old House television show, the entire season. So if you watch This Old House last year, the house in Manchester was the judge's house. So that was an interesting way to move to town. And then last year, he was not surprisingly named to the Conservation Commission. So I've been actually watching him on the Concom. He's a very measured, rational, reasoned person. He'll be good. Anyway.
I think you've mentioned him in terms of the Concom, because I kept thinking ever since I saw this name, this is a familiar name to me. So, and also I have to shout out to my friend Nisi Panetta, who I know was instrumental in recruiting John Judge and helping him to achieve that appointment. And I think people are so happy about this new direction for the trustees.
They should be. They should be happy because it's a really interesting thing. And Nisi, your friend Nisi, she's a resident of Manchester.
Yes, she is. Yes.
Oh, it's all about Manchester this week.
That's right. Well, also, I think under Barbara Erickson, the former director who really tragically died, she was already instrumenting some of that stuff. They were working in urban areas and doing urban gardens and things like work like that. So they were
East Boston in connection with, in partnership with Massport, the Massachusetts Port Authority. Very, very interesting. And also, by the way, their last big hire I thought was very interesting too, under the former president, who, yes, tragically died of cancer, I think in January of last year, was a community relations person who is an ex-Mrs. Massachusetts who happened to be very involved and was a very senior person at City Year, which I don't know if that means anything. That's also signaled a directional change with the trustees, that if you knew the trustees was perhaps a little bit of a things that make you go
Right. No, you think of older people and rural situations as opposed to City Year, which is young people and urban situations, right?
Rural, but more like, idealized suburban rural, like Appleton Farms, which I love Appleton Farms like the rest of them, but people really think of it as that, and that's really their past. They're getting to be more urban. They're getting to be more, sort of,
Yeah, very cool. Thank you, John Judge.
Interesting stuff.
Let's think of next year. Let's see.
Yeah, right, that's true, yeah.
And lastly, Erika, you have news on the Manchester Essex Education Fund.
Yeah, it's not news necessarily, and I'll tell you why, because it's a 48-year organization. But it's a feature on them, and it's a well-deserved feature. It's the Manchester Essex Education Fund. It's probably something that very few people have heard of, although you should. And it's a great story. And I'll tell you, well, first of all, I'll tell you what it is, and then I'll tell you why I think it's a great story. It is a scholarship fund that was founded in 1974 by a small group of Manchester parents and educators, basically, who decided just to do something. It wasn't seen as something they were going to do that was going to be transformative or a big deal. They just wanted to help a little bit with the cost of education, because at the time, education was getting a little expensive. Do you want to know what the average cost of a public 4-year institution was in 1974?
Oh boy.
$500 a year. $500 a year.
That's a Ford Pinto.
It's getting a little expensive.
Exactly. Or a Vega. Yeah. That was a down market Pinto.
That's the Nova.
And then private school, private 4-year at the time was $2,100. So it just tells you how crazy higher education has become. So they were at the right place at the right time. Over time, here's what's happened. They've got some great players in here, and here's the other reason, by the way, you may not have heard of them. They're almost like a holding company. That's my word, or an umbrella. So what they'll do, it's a very interesting construct. They have the Directors Fund, which is their center fund. They give out across the board. And then they have funds where if you are a family and you want to create a scholarship, or say you're the Manchester Essex Rotary, this is true, they will manage it for you, distribute it for you, and take out all of the, the wrinkles. So they have 28 funds, I believe, 28 scholarships within their umbrella that they manage and give out. And they total for Manchester Essex students, public or private school, they give out about $60,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
And to about 40 kids. The average scholarship goes up to about 2,500. Sometimes they'll go over if the circumstances require it. They just really meet the needs of local community kids, regardless of whether it's public or private, first based on need, but also with merit. So it's a great story. Here are some heroes in it. First of all, I'll tell you why I love the story really quickly. I love this story because there are very few organizations in Manchester, kind of similar to the Manchester Sailing Association. Remember we were talking about that?
I love that story.
It's a great story because it's about townies with non-townies. And let's face it, non-townies would be sort of the summer folks, the old, that's how they used to be referred to, rich, kind of Gold Coasty types. Let's think the Essex County Club, right? Or the Yacht Club. So it's those people with townies, new people to town, relatively new people to town, with people who've been around forever, all coming together, being friends and saying, hey, let's do something together. Do you know what I mean? It's a great story.
Really nice. Yeah.
That's the story. So this was created by a woman named Sally Weld with a group of people, and we named them all. Jerry Noonan, Jeremiah Noonan, Muffin Noonan. Do you know Muffin Noonan? She was a Board of Selectmen member, and she works for the school system. Anyway, her father, who is a longtime assessor in the town, very, very involved. This was one of his great passions, starting and managing the Essex. As a matter of fact, she was telling me that before he died, one of the last things he was going to do, it was within 2 days, and he was looking forward to it, to the announcement of all scholarship day at school. Isn't that interesting? He was that passionate about the Manchester Essex Education Fund. Cape Ann Savings Bank is a big hero in this. They have been managing this money for nearly free since, I think, 1978. And it's grown. It's now over $1 million. And there's this idea of sustainability. So, and one last thing, because I know I just could talk forever about this. I talked to one of the first recipients of it, Gail Donnellan, who I have to always remember her married name because it's Gail Donnellan Tarleton. She's out on the West Coast now. She's graduated valedictorian in 1977. She was the 6th of 7 kids in the 70s. And she literally told me, women didn't really think of themselves. I didn't think of college as being within reach for me. Because of this scholarship, it was, and she is amazing. She was talking about the scholarship. You know where she went from that 6th of 7 kids?
Where'd she go?
Went to Georgetown School of Foreign Service, which I don't know if you're familiar with that. My dad went to the Georgetown School of Foreign Service, so I, of course, love the Jesuits and I love Georgetown. But Georgetown School of Foreign Service. Then she went on to get a master's degree from Georgetown, went on to work for the U.S. Department of Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency. She majored in Russian studies, went on to a long career in business and government. She ended up becoming the commissioner for the Port of Seattle. And then she became the Washington representative. She became a Washington representative where she just basically retired this year.
Wow.
Imagine
That's incredible.
if she hadn't gotten off to her career properly.
Right. That's a great story right there. That really is. Yeah.
I love that story. So I talked to her. She's a great booster of this program. It's just an amazing story. I love it. So,
folks, you can check that out. Subscribe to The Cricket. You can find them at thecricket.com. Erika, as always, it's a pleasure. We'll see you this time next week.
bye, guys.
Bye.